Welcome back to Build for Health on True Story FM, the podcast where we explore what it really takes to build a body you actually want to live in. I'm Pete Wright, here with trainer Srdjan Injac. And today we are talking about something that, it needs more hype in the fitness world. That's maintenance. This is the phase nobody brags about on Instagram, but it might be the most important and most misunderstood part of the whole health journey. What does it mean to maintain progress? Is maintenance a plateau or a skill? How do you do it without losing momentum or your mind? Srdjan's going to help us break down how maintenance works from psychological and practical standpoint and why it deserves your respect. Let's get into it. Srdjan, we've been talking about it. We've been talking about it in the gym. What does it mean? How do you know you're finished? How do you know you're finished getting in shape?
I don't think you're ever truly finished.
That's disappointing. Okay.
I know. Well, you got to maintain your results. Once you reach those results that you want, now it's time to retain those results and keep those results and not fall back. Like common mistakes that people think about once they reach that goal is like thinking the maintenance is like doing nothing. Or, it's just you still have to do some work. It's not like a day off,
Well, that's, I think, the trick, right? Because you expect the maintenance. I should be able to just what do I need to go to the gym, once a week, a couple times a month, just to keep things, topped off. And then what I'm invariably doing at home is probably slipping on my diet, probably more sedentary than I normally am. It's comfort. Like I search for comfort. That's maintenance.
Yes, it's kind of comfort, but not a complete comfort. You don't want to get too comfortable now. So what maintenance actually looks like, just to kind of summarize, it's you still have to do like 2 to maybe 3, or even some people do full body workouts, like twice a week, 3 times a week. They go and do kind of just moderate cardio, just walking or biking. Like you don't have to go for like crazy runs or anything like that, but you still have to keep your protein intake high, stay hydrated, make sure you have those 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day. You're still maintaining your managing the stress and recovery and like sleep and stretching and all that stuff. So you still have to put in the work. I mean, you can get comfortable. So this is where it's kind of tricky. You now can get a little bit more comfortable with your workouts. Usually, as you know, when you come to train, I always push you. Like I kind of get you outside that comfort zone. I'm always like trying to break down that muscle and pushing your limits. So in the maintenance, you don't have to do that. Okay, you don't have to constantly chase those PRs and, cutting fat. And you're just staying healthy, mobile, strong, staying energized. So you don't have to always go till the failure. And you can now get a little bit more comfortable and do the same weight that, for example, you did last week, right? Because in order to progress, when you're trying to reach a certain goal, I always say, you're not going to change. Your body's not going to change unless you give your body a reason to change, right? So you have to push. You have to add that extra pressure, extra stress on that, to put extra stress on that muscle in order for that muscle to adapt now and change. This time, you don't have to do that. Now you can be in a more comfortable zone, but you still have to come in and do the work.
Okay, so I'm okay with that. I can imagine doing that. I can imagine coming in and doing the work. Maybe not so. I don't have to constantly be thinking about when can I up my weight? When am I going to max out the machine? Believe me, I'm not thinking about that yet. But I am thinking about like how do is there a point where I will be aware that I have reached the stage where I'm ready to go into maintenance, right? How do I know I'm there? And how much does that fall back on, what I don't know what a goal is to say I'm ready to move into the maintenance phase? I don't know how to just set that goal.
Well, you ready, like people usually the maintenance goal once they reach the goal, what they want, what they're trying to achieve. And then they want to kind of maintain that until they come up and, they get new goals. I was like, well, now I've reached that goal. Now I want to do this or that, or, train for something specific. But sometimes people just, life gets in the way, you have a busy life, you have some kind of, either you go on vacations and things like that, and then you just kind of don't want to lose what you've gained so far because you want to continue and try to reach your goal. But for whatever reason, you're not able to continue with the training and with the progression and all that stuff. So you kind of get into that maintenance mode, just not to lose your gains. So people go into maintenance for different reasons, but it's usually for the people that are like, if they get too busy, then, try to maintain so you don't lose the strength and the muscle that you gained so far.
Yeah. I like the idea of thinking of not thinking so hard about maintenance as a finish line, because as you know, I'm terrible with finish lines. If I set a goal to be able to do a thing, and I told you this when we started training, I did the apps. When the apps first started coming out, there was like the couch to 5K, there was couch to 25 pull-ups, there was couch to 100 crunches or whatever. And I did those when I was a younger man, and I achieved those goals, and then I stopped doing them. And that hurt me more, I think, than anything, which was there was no maintenance phase on the other side of being able to achieve those things. And I think mindset is really important when we're looking at goal-centered motivation.
Well, yeah, people fall off and like they'll reach the goal. And I see my clients all the time. Like I'll see the same clients over and over again. They'll reach their goal. I'll get them to where they trying to get them what they want to achieve. And then, they're happy. They go out and see them for like a year, 2 years, and then they come back and they gain all that weight back. And I'm like, what happened? They felt comfortable and they just stopped. So I'm like, you still have to continue. You have to put a little bit of more work, a little work. It doesn't have to be too much. It's not like, when we train, and then they were like, well, now I lost everything. Let's put everything back. So that's why it's a lifestyle change. So that's why when I train my clients, like I teach them about maintenance as well, because it's very important. Because once I help them to reach those goals, I would like them to keep those and maintain those goals, because they have to change their whole lifestyle. Once you change your whole lifestyle, it's going to be a lot easier to maintain that. All right, so it's a lot. It keeps you like mentally and physically in the game during the the life busy season, whatever. So you have to maintain the habit of training, and it keeps your brain while you train kind of wired to move. And the workouts can be shorter and lighter and all that stuff, but when you're in that maintenance phase, it's you're mentally also challenged, because you kind of want to stop and you feel like you reach your goals. Now I don't have to do it. But once you change your whole lifestyle, and that's kind of what I teach my clients, I change their whole way of thinking, and they actually enjoy coming in now and working out. So that helps them maintain, their goals. They'll still come in. They might not have me there, and they don't need me to push them to, past those limits, but now they know enough where they can actually maintain those gains. And it can be challenging.
I really like the way you frame that, because we're talking about not just maintaining the physiological gains, but the mental gains, the gain that I can be a person who has a fitness routine. I can be a person who can be protective of the time I go to the gym, even if I'm not pushing myself so hard to transform. I'm okay where I am, but the routine is precious.
Yes, and people will like lose those strength and muscle size pretty fast. I mean, it's so there is a difference what we call mature muscle,
Yeah.
and then usually people that have mature muscle, they've been training for years. Like to get those mature muscles, you need at least 3 to 5 years of constant training and being just perfect and making sure that you're progressing and all that stuff. So that's how you get those mature muscles, which are a lot harder to lose. But when you're new and you achieved your goal in a year or two, and then you kind of fall off the wagon, and then you just feel like, okay, well, now I can relax. I got what I wanted. You start losing the strength and the muscle size a lot faster. I mean, the muscle size, like you will noticeably lose the size in like 3 to 4 weeks of no training if you're not training at all, right? It'll take about 3 to 4 weeks to noticeably see muscles. So you have to make
Are
sure
you
that.
talking about mature muscle?
So don't no mature muscle. No,
you're talking about my
that
muscle.
takes a lot. But yeah, muscle. I'll have people gain the muscle and they get all excited, and I got the muscle, and they get the definition and the strength and all that stuff. And as soon as they stop, I'm like, you got to maintain. Even when you go on vacation, do some workouts, do some push-ups, do some little, light morning, go for a run, or something, just to kind of maintain that. That's why the maintenance is so important. Or they'll completely relax and, go for a couple months away and not do anything and just eat whatever and don't train and, don't do any daily activities. So they'll lose that muscle in like about 4 weeks of no training. So, and they'll lose the strength in about in less than that, in like 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
That's really disappointing.
It is. I mean, that's why I said the importance of maintenance. And people will get like really disappointed when they come back and they feel like, oh, we can't lift the same weight. I can't push the same. Like, I don't see the definition I had before. I'm like, well, have you maintained the muscle that we gained? Have you done anything? Well, so it is important.
I think that's the thing that. So if I'm understanding you right, the muscle that is built in until when 25, under 20, that's like your mature muscle.
Well, in your 20, it can be in your 30s as well, like in your early 30s. But if you're just constant with your training they say minimum 3 to 5 years. I would say minimum 5 years, because nobody's perfect at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I would say 5 years of constant training and progression, and
at that certain age.
And when you're younger, of course, it's a lot easier.
But what I'm hearing you say, like, let's just say I am with you and trucking along for 3 to 5 years, and I'm doing the regimen. Is it possible for older people to build muscle that is more sustainable? And I'm asking because what we were talking about in the gym yesterday, I want you to comment on, which is the fact that maintenance looks different as you age because your fitness naturally declines. So if your fitness is declining, maintenance might look like you have to work a little bit harder.
Yes.
To keep the gains. So talk a little bit about that.
Because
it hurt my feelings.
That's why you start earlier. So you build that mature muscle. So you don't really have to work that hard to maintain, even when you start aging and you start declining. Then, if you start a little bit too late, then you're going to have to put in a little bit of work just to maintain. It's almost as if, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you don't really have to put even that much work to gain some muscle mass and to progress. And older people might actually have to put in more work just to maintain. So it's a lot harder. Everything with age, it's a lot harder. So you definitely have to put in more work, and you have to take the maintenance a little bit more seriously because you don't have that mature muscle. That's why I always tell my clients, like, it's better to start earlier. It's better to start now. Don't wait. Sure. Just don't wait. It's not like it's going to be too late later. You can still build the muscle, but it's going to be that much harder. And it's going to be that much harder to maintain and hold that muscle. And then to progress, it's even harder. So you have to do more work. You have to be perfect in all aspects, in nutrition and recovery and everything. So it's going to require a lot more than for somebody who's already had those mature muscle for years. And then even if they fall off the wagon, it's a lot easier for them to get back into the gym and build that muscle back. It's a muscle memory, what we call. Years of training also improve your the central nervous system. So you move better, you recruit the fiber faster, you recover more efficiently. It's not just the size of the muscle, right? It's the thickness and the hardness of the tissue. So you have more stable tendons and connective tissues. Everything comes with the years of training and that mature muscle.
You say maintenance is not stagnation, it's consolidation. What does that mean?
So pretty much staying at your current level of fitness isn't the same as doing nothing. It's a strategic phase where you're solidifying your progress and reinforcing habits, strength, and structure for a long-term success. So you're not actively trying to build more muscle or lose more fat or, drastically improve your performance. You're just holding your current level. So, consolidation, you're allowing your body and mind to adapt fully to your current achievements, reinforcing that muscle memory, the joint stability, recovery ability, and just the lifestyle habits. So you're not stuck or failing, to progress. You're just choosing to maintain and keep your current progress, keep what you gained. So it's people think it's like, okay, I'm failing, I'm losing everything. No, maintenance is still, in my mind, it's still progress. When you stop doing everything, that's when you start failing. Maintenance is not, because it's important. Like when you get injured, like for example, I recently hurt my shoulder. So now I'm in the maintenance phase until my shoulder recovers. Like I'm just staying kind of in my comfort zone, doing what I can, but I'm still putting in work. I'm still watching my diet, like making sure I eat and I get my protein daily intake just right. And then I'm recovering and everything. Now the maintenance for me is so much more important while I'm trying to recover from the injury, because injuries happen, and then a lot of people will just stop doing everything, because they're injured. They'll find the reason why not to go and continue not to work out. Like just because you're injured, you can still do other stuff. You can still maintain. You don't have to push your limits and try to break down the muscle, maybe hurt yourself even more. But
right.
You can still do some work and you can still maintain. Don't think, it's the end of the world. You just lose everything. You're going to have to take 3 months off it and whatever. Like you still work through that.
Yeah, of course.
And the recoveries, you go maybe see a chiropractor, a massage therapist, and they'll help you in that recovery process with the injury. Like, for example, that I'm having with my shoulder. It's a soft tissue injury, but so it's not as serious. But it still prevents me from pushing my limits, right? But I don't have to. Now I'm just maintaining it because it's going to be a lot easier once I'm recovered to keep going. Start training right now. Don't wait. Start building that mature muscle, because the more you wait, the harder it's going to get. Trust me. And you can find us personal trainers, and we're not magicians. I can help you get that muscle, but I don't have magic pills. I wish I did, but it takes years. It takes a lot of effort. It's a lot harder once you start getting older. So a lot of people, they're like, oh, I feel good. I don't need anything now. I'm okay. But that's when you actually start. Don't wait till something happens and then you get into do it. Then it feels like it's too late. But you can still do it. It's just going to take so much more work. It's so much harder. So now that you feel good, younger, just do it. Just go for it. You'll be glad you did it. Like you'll look 5 years from now and you'll be glad you did it. So don't look back and regret for not doing it or starting it right away. Figure out how to do it, somehow fit into your routine. And if you have any questions how to do it, I would love to help you out. So
excellent. And that's our call to action, everybody. We're preparing a listener questions episode. We've got some questions in the queue, and Srdjan's going to take them on and in an upcoming episode. So make sure you just swipe up in your show notes. There's a link that says, "Hey, ask a question," and ask that question. You can keep it completely anonymous. You don't have to tell us your life story. Just ask questions about what you want to know about training and recovery and maintenance, how to make strength work in your life for health. That's what we're here for. Get stronger together. Thanks so much, Srdjan.
Thank you.
On behalf of Srdjan Injac, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll see you right here next week on Build for Health.